This is Sam Roberts Show.
Well, you know what those noises can mean. Only one thing. Sam Roberts Show is back. Of course. You want to call Sam Roberts Show, it's 866-969-1969. You can tweet us at SR SXM. Look who's here, Mike Lawrence.
Hey, man, how's it going?
Has just joined us in studio. You know, I met you a while back.
Yeah.
But I guess because you were with Tony Hinchcliffe, I assumed all this time. Otherwise, I would have invited you. Like, you probably thought you were like, what? He's never reached out to me since then.
That's okay.
Like, I assumed that because I saw you with Tony that you were an LA-based comic.
Yeah.
And then...
No, but I got laughs.
and then I see you tweeting something with, like, Luis Gomez and Dan. I'm like, wait, are you in New York? Like, are you in town this week? And you're like, I live here.
I've done every, like, affiliated, like, podcast and show except, like, you know, Opie and this and that kind of stuff. But, you know, I hang out with the Goblin Kings.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. And the Troll Monsters. Yeah, I love those guys.
Man, so, I mean, I apologize, first of all, that you had to spend a bunch of time getting to know. I just told a long story about getting to know a cabbie last night because all the trains were down at Grand Central.
Yeah.
But you got to know our beautiful building security here because Mike Lawrence was probably too complicated of a name to figure out how to get through the system.
Man, it is. Like the freedom I think that a black woman has denying a man who looks like a slave owner access into a building.
That's it.
I completely understand it in a way. Like,
right.
Now it's my turn.
This is my reparations right here. You not getting upstairs.
Yeah. I just want to be called sir in a positive context. But I also love, like, I've never realized, but there's a song called More Human Than Human, and we know that the singer is named Rob. That's the most human thing you can possibly be.
It probably is.
Yeah. Rob is less human. Robert's human. You're less than human.
So, Mike.
Yeah?
How long have you been in New York for?
9.5 years.
Because you grew up in Florida, correct?
Yeah.
I love that you grew up in Florida because I feel like, you know, Florida is.
I'm glad one of us does.
Exactly. Like, I like hearing about Florida from like the outside perspective. And I was saying before you got here that, like, comedians tend to be very observant of everything going on around them. It's kind of the job, right? So for you to be able to have a comedian mentality and be able to look around at the fucked up world of Florida. What part of Florida did you grow up in?
South Florida. So actually Davie, but I tell people like Fort Lauderdale, you know, Broward County.
Yeah.
But yeah, Davie, shit town. It's very southern. Like, I mean, the thing about all of Florida is that it overcompensates.
Yeah.
You know, like, no one's actually southern in Florida, but because they're just a little bit, they have to be more southern than anybody. Like,
I see.
Like, the racists there have to be super like, they're always on, you know?
Yeah.
Because they're afraid of being called out for what they're not.
They have to pull in every negative Southern stereotype, every Southern stereotype, positive or negative, and just own it.
Yeah, every stereotype.
All of them.
Like, the black people have to be super black, and the, you know, the Latinos have to be super Latino.
And the white people acting like they're black people have to be super white people. Yes.
We have the best wiggers.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
They did that whole Spring Breakers movie about
Purebred.
Purebred wiggers?
Oh, yeah.
That's perfect.
The finest there ever are. That was always funny, like, when, and I won't go too much into wrestling because I know you have another show about that, but.
Which, by the way, I'll have you on the wrestling podcast, too,
awesome.
now that I know that you live here.
Yeah. But John Cena, to me, like, oh, he's just a Floridian. Just the cargo shorts, shirtless, always winning, never getting a comeuppance, and just pretending to be black.
Right.
and then honoring the troops. Like, you don't want, you know, you want some, there won't be none. Osama bin Laden has been compromised and captured.
That probably is. he probably is about the most Florida wrestler
Oh yeah.
in the world. Just wearing shorts that like went out of style.
Oh yeah.
Years.
Oh, it's amazing.
And a buzz cut. The buzz cut is important, I feel like.
Oh, all of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
The fact that like even like, there's the Bella twins and the ones like with the hippie dude Daniel Bryan, but then he's got the one with the fake tits, which is even more Florida.
Yeah, it's perfect.
I remember because I love the show Total Divas.
So you know what? I got to tell you something. Everybody knows I watched that show, but you have now just like you've been on the show for how long now? 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And you just won over the entire audience because this whole audience loves just calling me and saying, "Hey Sam, when are you gonna do a Total Divas recap?"
Yeah, we literally. This is the song "Breakfast at Tiffany's," and I said, "What about Natalia Neidhart? I think she's a good protagonist and a human version of Charlotte Brown. Her whole life's been one football that's been put away, and she can't kick it." I fucking love her so much. She is the Millhouse of professional wrestling.
She really is. I interviewed her too, Natty Neidhart.
Yeah,
she's like, and this is even beyond Total Divas.
Yeah,
and I was like, you're actually a woman who's a good wrestler.
Yeah.
And this was SummerSlam time.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, yeah. And I was like, you don't have a match though at SummerSlam. And she's like, no, I'm here promoting Friskies cat food.
Yeah.
And there was this like sort of like, but I'm gonna keep trying.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna keep trying.
It's that,
and they keep moving that football.
It's that Canadian like hopefulness in a world without any. Like, things will get better and it's okay. And
based on what? What are you possibly basing that thought on?
Like, because when Canadians are aggressive, it's the most amazing thing, but they rarely ever are. Like all of these assholes now who are like, I'm just gonna move to Canada if Trump wins. The Canadians are like, I mean, it's okay. I mean, we already have enough, people here, but like, we would prefer if you didn't. But I mean, if we have to, they don't want us.
They're saying no, but they want to be polite.
Because every person that's actually gonna do it like wears like a "Don't Tread on Me" T-shirt. It's not the good people aren't going there after this.
No, nobody's moving. Yeah. No, nobody who says they're moving to Canada is moving to Canada
unless they were gonna be exiled anyway.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
The people that to Canada are the ones who are gonna be the most American there. Like,
right.
They're gonna be so terrible about it.
Right. They're gonna start their own. Because they're gonna start a militia, but they're gonna do it from Canada.
Yeah, they're like the people that watch American Sniper up until the point that he dies. Right before that. Oh, it's just a happy story about a man who loves his family.
Yeah. This is where we turn it off.
Yeah. He killed the butcher. I'm good.
Store has been told.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if the Titanic is just a beautiful story about engineering. And gumption if you turn it off halfway through.
You got to see this boat. The thing will not sink.
Yeah. Unsinkable.
It's amazing.
Unsinkable.
So you regularly watch the reality show Total Divas?
I do.
Now, did I see you're a married guy?
Yes, I am.
Do you watch
Green Lantern Wedding Ring?
Oh, so you're like one of these
I didn't want you to respect
guys.
me. Yeah.
So how does your wife then feel about all the nerdiness, whether it's the wrestling stuff, like you're sitting here with me, you're successful in your profession very much, but you also haven't forgotten who you truly are in the sense that you have a Green Lantern wedding ring, and I see the Fantastic Four hanging out with Spider-Man on your T-shirt right now.
Yes.
And you're sitting at home watching Total Divas and wrestling all the time.
Dude, I'm wearing a Fantastic Four shirt after that movie came out. I'm the guy who still has the rebel flag. This is me being Florida. We've lost, but I'm still represented.
Right. You're representing the comics, not the movie, the way they're representing the South, not slavery.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's a purity to it. If you look at its original values, I can't do a Southern impression without it just becoming Jim Ross. In my opinion, the Fantastic Four are four people who had the opportunity.
So, how does your wife feel about you having all these geeky?
Oh, she's cool with
hobbies.
I mean,
does she share them with you?
I like things that she doesn't love, like wrestling and comic books, and she likes things that I don't love, like me. So it all works out.
I guess so. Yeah. You're like. She's like, I don't understand why you spend so much time watching wrestling. And you're like, I don't get why you would spend so much time with me.
Well, you know what it is? Like, to me, because, like, she's into her own nerdy shit. She likes Japanese horror films and...
That's dope.
Yeah, and, like, the Muppets and shit like that. And I think it's so important, like, to me, that when because we're both nerdy people, but I don't know if I want someone who loves the same things.
I've always thought the same
all
thing.
The time. I don't want someone to blow me and then like talk about Kevin Owens' work rate like right afterwards. It's amazing too. Like I think like my marriage is good, but you always fear it's gonna fall apart. So like in terms of comedy, I only take her to shows that I would want to see, and I only take her to the comic book movies that I think are gonna be good.
Like, so you're not gonna take her to Batman, Superman?
Oh no, and I didn't. But we saw Deadpool and Civil War.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, but these are like, all right, my Spidey sense is low on this, but Fantastic Four, I'm like, I need you to sit this one out. Like,
I got to see this. I need to know I got to see this, but you got to be here.
Yeah, because it's the same way with comedy. Like, there's certain like comics or people in comedy like I wouldn't want her to know exist that I deserve to have to deal with because this is the life I've chosen.
Right.
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 But there's certain things like, no, you deserve to be home.
Like what kind of shows would you not bring her on?
I mean, there's certain clubs, and I won't say which, but like certain places, like I will call out one place. LOL, it is the worst club in the city by far.
I've only heard bad things.
Yeah, and I quit. They cut pay. No club ever cuts the pay. They're supposed to add to it, but
right.
this was their contract with you as former. We are going to treat this audience like shit, and you're going to be okay with it because you will make enough money to feel that it's all right. And then the second
how do they treat the audience like shit?
They lie to them. They tell them that there's performers that aren't there.
It's like it's the Times Square Comedy Club.
That is the exact
where people
club.
go like, oh, Dave Chappelle performs here.
That's them.
But yeah.
I remember one time it was in the fourth floor of an elevator, but that was a club I took my wife to, and I just felt so bad. Like
right.
It'd be like I believe that Winston from the Ghostbusters has always like had a family, and he just chooses not to let them see the ghost.
Right. I get that.
Yeah,
I get that.
But so I remember I was in the elevator once, and there was 3 British people with me, and they go, "Oh, Jim Carrey and Sarah Silverman on this show tonight," and I just go, "No, but I am." And that was it. I mean, but they're the worst. And I remember
Jim Carrey and Sarah.
But there was one night where like me and my wife went to a movie, and I was like, hey, I just, this is my job. I just got to go to work, and then we'll go home together. And she just sat there, and I watched her watch some of the show, and even I saw her see me, and that was like heartbreaking. Like I remember there was the episode of The Simpsons where Marge is afraid of flying, and it turns out the reason she is because she saw her dad be a stewardess.
Right.
And
that's
what
how
I
you
felt.
felt.
Like. Yeah. Don't look at me. And it was just I can't,
because you want like that would be the most important thing, right? You need your wife to think that what you're doing is good.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to, you think that you're not great.
Yeah.
So you need your wife to be like, no, you don't understand. Like the stuff you're doing is like next level and it's really good. So when she sees the shitty part of it, the last thing you need is her image of your comedy being brought down at all.
Well, this is what's fascinating. The biggest parallel that I could give to comedy and wrestling, and I will explain this in lay macho man's terms, is that what's happened with the WWE is what's happened with comedy.
Oh,
in the sense that the fans are the performers now. The biggest marks. The biggest people that believe it's real are the wrestlers themselves. And CM Punk talked about this, about how like that's why they're able to be taken advantage of because they're such
so happy
fans.
to be there.
Yeah.
And
that's what's happened with comedy, where it's this weird world where if you are doing it for the money, you're seen as more of like a mercenary or like it's not the right reasons. And I think like the best that you can hope for in comedy is that it becomes a job. Like, we all
like it's a benefit to you.
Yeah.
If that fire starts to dwindle and it becomes a job.
Not that it starts to dwindle, but that it but it just gets to that point where it's like, well, one, that it is providing a livelihood for you, but that like you look at it in terms of the money also. Like, that's not the only writing thing, but it's like,
it's important.
But because it's funny, like when people start and they're like just big fans of comedy, i.e., big fans of themselves doing comedy.
Yes.
You shit on people for, like, oh man, I can't believe that guy was in that sitcom, or why would that guy do that commercial? And once you're a working comic, like, you're just happy your friend has a job. Like,
right.
And so like, yeah, and that's the thing with certain shows where it's like, look, most shows I do because I love them. I do podcasts because I love them. I do lots of things because I love them. Some things I am just doing for the paycheck, and that's okay.
Right. And it reminds you, too, that you have a value, that you're not just lucky to be there, right?
Because my mom was a comic in the 80s and 90s, and it, she didn't make it, basically. Like,
So what's she like when you start getting, because you've had a lot of successful moments, especially in the last few years that happened for you. I mean, you've become a regular on At Midnight.
Yeah.
You've written for many very cool projects. Amy Schumer Show.
Just many. Not many, but not many.
But the movie awards, you did a whole bunch of stuff there.
Yeah. I'm on a show now, which is cool.
Yeah. So how does your mom react to you succeeding where she maybe did not?
She's happy. You know what the coolest thing is? Like, she wanted to be my manager for years. Mm-hmm. And there was that thought in my head of like, that's my end game. That's when I quit. Like, I just let my mom manage me for a year. Like, that's when you'll know that like I've planned my exit strategy.
Right. So you just want to see how this thing goes down for the next year.
Yeah. The way that like, like some people are voting for Trump, like, we deserve this. Like,
right.
And
let's watch this thing crumble.
Yeah. And so I was talking to my mom, and she was she was like, I think I could really manage you. I really think I could do it. She goes, I mean, look, I may not have the contacts that these other people do. And then I was like, Mom, that's all the job is. That's all it is. And then she said, oh, it is? Okay, well, then I don't need to manage you. And I'm like, we're cool. Like, that's all I had to say was like, that's all it is.
That's literally the whole job. Like, Mom, I have more contacts than you.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be a good manager. I could just call them myself.
Yeah.
Like this wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah, but I don't want to deal with those phone calls, and I need somebody to. And
right.
Mother, can you ask them to pay me more? Winter's coming, and I'm gonna be cold.
So at what point in comedy? You've been doing comedy then for how long? You've been in New York for 9 years.
I've been doing comedy like a little over 10 and a half years.
So you did what, like a year and a half in Florida, and then escaped?
Yeah.
How did you escape?
I mean, I moved here with no money. I worked at a McDonald's for 7.5 years. I had $2,000.
You worked at a McDonald's for 7.5 years, like at the same McDonald's?
Yeah.
Who does that? Was there anybody with you that had been working there that long?
What if I just went, this guy? I did.
I knew you worked at McDonald's, but I didn't know you worked there for 7.5 years.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Are you just a guy who likes to, stick it out? I feel like I would have.
Dude, I stayed with pro wrestling after Owen Hart and Chris Benoit. You think I leave things?
That's true. I get that.
Yeah. So, I'm going to see the next Fantastic Four movie after what this one did to me. I was like, man, Batman vs. Superman was the worst fucking movie ever. Ooh, Ben Affleck has a solo Batman film? You don't say.
I'm willing to give it a shot.
And I think that's a quality my wife sees in me of like, oh, this man will not leave me regardless of what I do to him.
Because you've made the decision.
Yeah.
This is what I do. So were you planning on, were you planning on being a lifer at McDonald's?
No. I knew that, I was going to college and stuff, so I knew that I was going to get out, but...
It was a Florida McDonald's.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was crazy. I ate McDonald's on the way over here because I knew I was going to have to talk about it, and sometimes when I talk about it, I get hungry for it. So, but I walked past... this McDonald's, and I go in the McDonald's, and I was debating whether or not I should go in because I'm like, man, I know what this fucking food does to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at they had this now hiring sign, and it said, join our team. If you're awesome, apply here. So one, I know I couldn't get a job there now, but it was a 10.
These are some new qualifications.
So this is a New York McDonald's. This is their now hiring sign. $10.50 per hour.
Oh,
paid
bucks.
Paid time off flexible hours, growth opportunity, free employee meal.
Meal? Like one a day?
Yeah, now it is so emotional for me.
Tell me.
I feel like the old black woman that got to see civil rights happen.
Oh, so you're very, very proud of this. Is what comes with the employee now.
There's the bitterness in some ways, but like I worked when I started in May 16th of 1999, and I made $5.25.
That's literally double.
Oh yes.
Today's
That's
thing is
McDouble.
That's McDouble salary.
Yes.
Did you get a free meal?
No.
Did you get
half off?
Half off, 50%. Did you get paid time off?
No.
Were your hours at all flexible?
Not very. No.
Said, wow, they really have made major improvements.
Yeah, and it is amazing. I hope they remember those who came before that. But it's crazy, and what's interesting is that like. So I at the end of December of 2006 and was making $6.45, and that's after.
So there was room for growth. That was an extra $1.45 an hour after 7 years
and 5 raises.
What?
Yes.
So you had to go through 5 raises to accumulate $1.45.
Yes.
Wow.
Now that's what's crazy. Like with comedy, like in the clubs in New York, the pay hasn't changed like in some places in years. Like I know like I think it was Shalou and Alexandro fought to get it to $25 in 2006. And it's so crazy that like this industry of McDonald's the pay has gone up and up. It's like, I mean, because it is funny, like I have nightmares that like I'm working there again because
at McDonald's.
Yeah, because I was there so long to the point that when I think about failing in comedy, I just always imagine that that's where I'll be back.
You just go back because that's what you know.
Yeah.
Now, did you ever become a manager?
No.
How did you not become a manager after 7 years?
Because then that meant that I would be staying there a while.
So you purposely said, no, I don't want to be the manager.
I stayed there so long because I always thought I was going to leave.
Right.
Yeah.
No. Trust me, I'm just here until the next thing comes along.
Yeah, exactly.
Man.
Yeah.
Man, so how did you finally quit? And by the way, when you quit,
yeah,
there had to be nobody still at the McDonald's that started with you.
There was a few.
Really?
Yeah, because I usually worked like the 6 a.m. to 2. Like when I started.
So you were the guy who had to tell people breakfast is done.
I have a bit about that.
I don't want you to go into your bit, but
I mean it's quick, but
okay.
like about how I hate the all-day breakfast because getting to tell people that we were out of it was the only happy moment of my day.
You loved that.
Yeah.
You needed to inflict that misery.
Yeah. Well, I say like I love my wife, but getting to tell people they can't get an Egg McMuffin anymore is the hardest my dick will ever be. Yeah.
And people would get upset by it.
Oh, yeah, and it felt so good.
It did.
You know what felt the best was when I knew that they were in line at like 10:27, but then it took so long that by the time that they got to it, they couldn't get it anymore.
You're like looking at it, like looking at the clock going, I hope that guy's the cutoff.
Yeah.
I hope that guy right there.
Because I have a rule with like just all food in general, but especially fast food. Like I will never send anything back. Because the people that work there wish they could do that with God, and they can't. You know, can I have the last 5 years without depression and without...
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Well, tell me this. Tell me what happened here.
Yeah.
I went to Chick-fil-A last week.
Yes, I've been there.
I've been doing nothing but saying great things about Chick-fil-A. I'm a huge fan.
Yeah.
Or was it?
C rating and all.
Yeah, it didn't matter to me. I went right back to that one on 30 whatever street.
Yeah.
But now there's a new one right 2 blocks over.
Holy shit.
Right on the same block as McDonald's over here.
Yeah.
But I went there, and I felt I felt cuckolded, to tell you the truth.
Okay.
Because I've been saying such good things about them on the air.
Yeah.
And then I had to wait like between 10 and 15 minutes to actually finally get my food after I ordered it.
Yeah.
And when I did, I brought it back up here. There was no top bun on my sandwich.
Yeah.
Was that shit done on purpose?
No.
How do you forget the top bun?
They don't, I mean, you know what those people, you know what I would love to do? Like One of my favorite superpowers is Ghost Rider has a superpower called the penance stare, and when he looks into your eyes, you feel all the pain you've inflicted on others. I would love to look in your eyes and have you feel all the pain that person who made that sandwich has gone through, and you'd be okay with it.
So it's just misery.
Oh yeah,
working at the. And now, is that because fast food attracts misery or creates it?
I mean, I think that it's like, there's two types of people that work in fast food.
Mm-hmm.
Those who are young and on the way up, and those who are older and that's their last resort. Like, that's, you are just technically not homeless. If you're, even with this $10.50 an hour, I mean, it needs to be that just because of the fucking, I mean, this, like, since I've been here almost 10 years, like, it's crazy how, like, less friendly and even, just, like, it's even hard to, like, move around here. Like, it's impossible to find a bathroom anymore in New York City. Like, and they all have, like, the codes or they're locked.
Oh, yeah.
Starbucks got rid of all of theirs. They don't even have any anymore.
They got rid of bathrooms altogether.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, because I know when they started putting the codes in in all these New York bathrooms. But that probably also was because when Giuliani was mayor, no more homeless people.
Mm-hmm.
When he left, the homeless started coming back, and now all the restaurants have to protect their bathrooms from these homeless people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Now, so you think it's just generally a less friendly place, New York?
Absolutely. I mean, and the prices and everything. Yeah, like right now I'm working on 37th. Like, you can't get a lunch for under $10. It's insane.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. So was McDonald's the job that you left to pursue stand-up full-time? Like, did you?
Yeah, and I was working there while I started stand-up. Because if you can make those people laugh, in
McDonald's,
you might have a chance.
It's like prison.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you were the funny guy in prison, but it was McDonald's.
Except there's less convicts in prison. There was tons of, I mean, like, I've always, like, I'm not a one-man show guy, because I guess I need the book or something, but, like, because I can only talk about it for, like, up to 2 or 3 minutes on stage without people getting too bummed out.
Right.
But there's definitely, I would love to tell the whole story.
Yeah. Yeah, of like what you ran in, like stuff that's not funny. Just like, this is fucking the real deal.
Yeah, because I'm able to, like, I still feel like a spokesman for the people that work there, but, like, it's a different type of thing because, like, I remember I did this, there was, like, some, like, raise the minimum wage type fundraiser show. It had, like, 2 or 3, like, way more liberally minded comedians before me. I think they had, like, W. Kamau Bell and Hari Kondabolu, and I love those guys. They're great. But they had me one year, and I don't think they realized, because, like, I do jokes making fun of the employees, and their whole thing is, like, they're people too.
Right.
But that was my way of showing their humanity. And, there were moments where, like, I was doing really well, but there were moments where they're like, no, these are noble people. And I'm like, yeah, but they would also call you a bunch of, agates.
Yeah.
Like, some of them would. I mean, there were lots of great people, but, I had a manager who called another manager the N-word and didn't get fired.
Really?
So, I mean, the shit I saw. That's all I can say. One of my favorite things about working there was a guy who talked about pro wrestling as if it was real.
Yeah.
And it is the greatest moments I've ever had as a wrestling fan.
And you just sit there and let him talk, like just having conversations so you can hear his, like, how does one have a conversation as if it's real?
I mean, Kane and The Undertaker, like, they're brothers, but, like, there's moments where you just feel like they don't love each other much, and they just got a hug. But, Paul Bearer, he's in charge of The Undertaker, and because I would ask him, like, who do you think is going to win? And he would go based on storyline reasons.
Right.
And it was so much more entertaining, and he wasn't, like, snarky or,
How old was he?
He was probably, like, in his mid-20s.
Do you have special needs?
I I mean, he was McDonald's. No, he was a little bit, but not completely. I don't think. Like, I mean, something was missing, but he wasn't like it wasn't very obvious. Like,
yeah,
I'll just say that if an actor played him, he might win the Golden Globe, but not the Oscar.
I got you.
Not,
so not
he
all
didn't go
the way.
full retard.
Not all the way. Yeah.
He was but not but.
Oh my God, I would love to have that conversation with somebody
Oh, it's the best.
who just doesn't realize, like, because there's no sort of I'm better than, I'm smarter than, I'm anything. It's just like, and really, I mean, that's how people have conversations about most TV shows, right? Like if you had a conversation about The Sopranos, about Breaking Bad, about Walking Dead, like you start to comic books. You talk about the characters as if like how you feel about the characters, but you don't do that with pro wrestling, really.
No, I mean that's the thing with like Game of Thrones, and people are like, "Well, you know, Jon Snow was going to come back because Kit Harington's film schedule is free for the next 8 months," and I'm like, "It's freaking, can you escape?
Right,
just a little bit.
Right.
They also, you know, like the companies give us too much. Like you don't even get to have the illusion anymore. Mm-hmm. Like I remember. You know, like Captain America Civil War came out, and I was pretty sure, like, all right, Iron Man's going to survive this, but who knows what will happen. They're going to do something crazy. And then it's like 3 weeks before the movie came out, they're like, you know, Iron Man's going to be in the Spider-Man film a year after this comes out. I'm like, why do I need to know that now?
Right. Why do I even need to know? First of all, I don't need to know Spider-Man's involved.
No.
Second of all, I certainly don't need to know Iron Man survives and there's more Iron Man stuff coming out.
Yeah.
But I think it's way too much, too, with the superhero movies.
I agree.
I think there are way too many. And, like, I saw Captain America versus Iron Man Civil War, and, like, most of the superhero movies I skip now because they're all the same. You know what I mean? Like, there's a formula.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing as someone who, like, lives and breathes and loves this stuff. Like, I call it my football.
Yeah.
I would love if they just put them out all in the summer, like within a 4 or 5 month period, and then we didn't have to worry about them the rest of the year. And I could go through the emotions and, you know, be into them and be excited, but then have that cool down period.
Right. You want a season of superhero movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And it used to be that way. Like the summer, this is where they'll go.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's like, well, you know, like the big problem to me, I don't like that the fans are treated like shareholders.
How so?
Like in the sense that they're like, and don't worry, Black Panther is going to be in the fourth quarter of 2018. And, you know, and these are going to, you know, like the amount of like images that were shown way too in advance, like that there's like single photographs. And even that Spider-Man was in the Civil War commercial. It's like, I felt, you know, I'm a child of divorce, and I remember when both sides were trying to get me over. And it's like, hey, there's going to be ice cream. Like, you fucking, you know.
So you're saying, like, Marvel goes, like, I know you're excited about Batman versus Superman, but Spider-Man's in our movie, too.
Yeah, and then the last X-Men trailer, like, they had, like, the Wolverine claws. Like, can you leave anything?
Which, by the way, even for somebody that's sick of superhero movies, I knew watching that movie, if I didn't know Spider-Man was going to be in this thing, I would have been like, oh, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
You know, when it's a surprise, like, oh, that's Aunt May, like, you know, that whole process. But you're like, oh, just sitting there waiting for the thing you know that's going to happen.
And because, like, you know, that is like my public persona of the guy who, like, I do love talking about this stuff. I have a podcast called Nerd of Mouth where, you know, I review the movies and things like that, but I do like turning it off too. But, like, people will, like, what do you think of this? What do you know, Tilda Swinton as the Ancient One. Is it good? And I'm just, like, sometimes, like, I don't want to fight anymore.
Yeah. I said it's the same way with me. I can't have wrestling conversations with a lot of people because I just want to go, like, yeah, no, I think it's good. I think it's cool. Like, I can't, like, sit here and have another dialogue about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there were people, when I went to WrestleMania, there were, like, drunk people the whole time coming up to me after shows going, who do you think's going to win? Give me something. I'm like, I'm not giving you anything.
And no one else has either.
Right.
Yeah. It gets exhausting when it's like, but to me, like, that's why you get married. That's why, you know, you have other interests in life.
So there can be something outside of it. You could be a person, not just somebody who follows this thing all the time.
Yeah, like, you know, like, I love this stuff, but I never would get to the point where I would just tweet angrily at somebody.
Yeah.
Of just where it's like, and the scary thing about that is like, oh, you need this that much that you have to make someone know that you exist and just to be mean like that. That's crazy to me.
Yeah, and I think it's weird too when people like get obsessive over something creative.
Yeah.
But then the other side doesn't click in. Like usually, or at least in my mind, I feel like if somebody's obsessive over something, not only do you appreciate that, but there's something that clicks in you to create, to do something with your time as well. And I kind of get sad when I see people that are just like, no, they just obsess over someone else's thing, and it's literally all they do.
Yeah, and it's fascinating. Like I've gotten much better at like blocking because
you do block.
I do, yeah. And it's to me like the type of person that I'll usually block if they are following way more people than are following them. That's
a good sign.
That's a good sign.
Yeah.
And then if I look at I'll look at like the last 10 tweets. And if they tweeted at like 2 or 3 other people who are usually also my friends, mean shit, I'm like, all right, that's it. Like, all right, this is who you are, and that's cool. You could be who you are, but I don't want this in my life.
Right, nothing good is going to come of us interacting or me being even aware of you.
Yeah, and I'm at that level of success where people will tweet at me and tell me how they feel about me. And I don't have the money to properly medicate myself. so it sticks with me.
Until you can develop a drug habit, you're going to have to block people.
Yeah.
I see. Now, does that stuff stick with you? Are you...
It does sometimes.
Yeah.
It does less now.
Is that because there's more of it coming in, or is it because you're doing more that you're proud of?
Yeah, I think it's just a thing like, because I'll do shows like Legion of Skanks and... Robert Kelly's show and those kind of like more ball busty shows. And there are like, some like super masculine dudes who are like, who's this alt fag?
Right.
They look at me as like, oh, and the thing is like, I know that the people that I'm on the show with respect me and I respect them and we're friends. And it's this thing of like, we're all cool with each other, but they get protective of the other people on that show.
Yeah.
Or, like I remember there was a moment where me and Lewis, and me and Lewis were good buddies. Like I love that guy. But we were arguing about Batman versus Superman.
Mm-hmm.
And we started making fun of each other. And, like I think I said something like I tried to go to Google Translate to get you're wrong about this, you fucking moron in Spanish or something. And then he's making fun of me back and it's fun. But then like one of his fans like steps in and they're like, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
That's like, we're buddies. Like,
right.
There is that thing like when comics, like we all ball bust, but then the third stranger comes in.
Right.
And like, I've had people fight for me and I'm like, no. No, we're cool.
Right. This is what we're doing. This is this is sport for us. This is fun.
Yeah. There's the Looney Tunes with the sheepdog where they clock in, the wolf and the sheepdog.
Yes.
Hey, George. Like,
right.
That's,
Right. At the end of the day, it's like, no, we're done. This is what we do.
Yeah.
And now we're done.
In
we're
public,
cool.
we will make fun of each other for our superhero movie opinions. In private, we will talk about the work we wish we had but don't.
Right.
Together.
Right. Makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes perfect sense. If you want to talk to Mike Lawrence, and by the way, what's your Twitter? Mike Lawrence.
At the Mike Lawrence.
By the way, I like that you were about to say that without ego. You're the, and it's like, no, it's the.
It's
at
THE, yeah.
At the Mike Lawrence
Yeah.
on Twitter, and you can call up the show at 866-969-1969. So, at what point, like when you say now that you've reached the point that you feel like you have reached some success,
Yeah.
what was it? Was there any sort of thing that you did that was like, okay, that's success?
I think there's little moments, and I think that, I mean, it's like if I could give advice to newer comedians, like you really do want to go through those, like, I do believe in paying dues. I do believe in eating shit and going through the steps, like, and I don't think that happens as much anymore, and it kind of saddens me. Like, I think the first few years, like, you should show up early to the show. You should be the first person there and the last person there, and it should mean something to you. You should go to these open mics. You should sit through everybody, and if you bomb, you should stay and watch people do better than you and try to figure out why.
Yeah.
I think that's all important. There's so much entitlement now, and I think some of that is because of podcasts where people listen to these things, think they're tutorials, and now they're experts, and it's like it's okay to not know anything and then slowly learn. Because if you go from,
which, by the way, is the same thing again. It's a parallel to pro wrestling, where because of the internet and podcasts, half the fans think that they have a better understanding of the inner workings of what's going on than anybody who's actually doing it. Yeah,
and it is that thing of, like, guys who are, like, who wrestle as, like, heels, as bad guys. They're like, no, I want you to boo me because that's what my job is.
Yes.
If I was a comic, I would want you to laugh. I wouldn't want you to clap and agree with me. Yeah. I would want you to give me the reaction that you clearly see that I'm trying to elicit.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So you think that part of it is that there's so much inside the actor studio comedian stuff nowadays?
In some ways, and I think a lot of it's great. I think, we're allowed to be more intimate. We're allowed to connect with people. And I think that's all awesome. And I think, you were saying, like, earlier how, like, I am myself. Like, this new era of comedy, everybody gets to be that. And I think that's invaluable. I'm just saying, like, newer people need to, like, work through things and crawl up through the levels. So for me, it was like, I remember each time I got on a show for the first time, in some shows that I wanted to do for years, like, that meant something. Mm-hmm. And it was all those milestones. And like, and I think the important thing is, like, success to me is you never have the same year twice.
Right. So does that mean growing or just different?
Oh, yeah. But, like, all right, oh, man, I got to do this cool thing, or I got to do that thing. And, like, I mean, so, like, the very simple trajectory was, I did the Montreal New Faces in 2010.
Okay.
John Oliver puts me on his TV show on Comedy Central in 2011. It takes me on the road with him. I mean, that guy's the reason I'm a working comic.
John Oliver is?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you must be looking at what he's doing on HBO and being like, fuck yeah, because he's
unbelievable,
so successful and, like, so funny.
Yeah, and it was also, I remember, like, I wrote a packet for his show. I didn't get picked, and there was no resentment because it was like, you know what, man, this guy gave me everything.
Yes.
And there was probably people better than me, and I just got to write the next packet, and that's it.
Right, so that was 2011.
Yeah, that was 2011, and then I did the half hour at the beginning of 2013. Mm-hmm. I went on the road with Maron for a little bit. How
did you end up doing that?
I did the live podcast, and I think that was, like, the moment that I went from, like, an open micer in my head to, like, feeling like I could be a real comic, because there was a moment 5 minutes into that episode, we're in the Bell House. And I tell him that my mom was a comedian, and I was like, my mom opened for you in, 1991. And he goes, oh, who was she? And I was like, don't worry, you didn't fuck her. And the crowd lost it. And I was proud of myself for having and it just came to me, and I had the confidence to say that. And I was like, oh, okay.
Now I'm there.
Yeah.
In that moment, it's like, I'm here now.
Yeah. And, and he just went, ah.
Yeah.
And he was cool. And then he gave me a full episode. And so, yeah, it was just these, like, little breadcrumbs, and things were coming together. Then the half hour. Then at midnight was just, like, I think, it was just the perfect thing for me in that perfect time.
Right.
Like, I was doing, puns and quick one-liners. And I remember, like, that was one of those crazy things where the first time I did at midnight, they had me come out. My manager was, like, fighting hard for me, because they had test shows the week before it actually aired. And she was like, you should see this guy. And I didn't really know Hardwick. I think I may have hosted for him at Caroline's once, but she's like, you should see this guy, the booker. And I remember that was one of those, like, pass or fail moments in my head. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I mean, the other two people were really funny, but I was like, you guys want this? I need this. It was, like, desperate as all. Yeah. And it went great. And then they're like, you're coming back next week for the first, week of shows. I was on the third episode ever.
Wow.
And it was this amazing thing. And so that and things just started like clicking in certain ways, and then, because like I think too, it's like you need to be confident enough to go on stage, but you need to be humble enough to know that it can all go away and that you always have to work really hard. And I mean, like that's the best thing I could say about McDonald's is that I had most of my ego beaten out of me, and so then I do the show Roast Battle in at the Gramercy Theater, and Amy Schumer was there.
Out of coincidence.
She was Mark Norman was there. And,
okay.
And they're great friends. He opens for her.
Yeah.
He's a great buddy of mine. And so she was there to watch him, and then she saw me and she came up to me afterwards and was like, How many of those jokes were yours? And I was like, all of them. Because that's just like with that midnight, that's the kind of person I want to be. Everyone else, like I help people with other things, and and I will get to a point where I'm busy enough where I won't be able to do that. But like, I'm like, you know what? I'm an ugly writer. Like, Bruce Valanche, Patton Oswalt, those were my heroes. You know, the guys. It's like those guys had to fucking fight for everything.
Yes.
Yes.
They
had to beat a much better looking person at every fucking job they got to a certain point.
Yes.
I would see Bruce Valanche on Hollywood Squares and be like, who is that fucking Muppet? Like,
right.
I could be that Muppet.
Like, those are the guys that have to be unhumanly good. Because they certainly don't have any, like the genetics are not what's getting them there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
At any time, like I'm in, like, I'll do at midnight and the thing doesn't work. I'm like, oh no, they're going to replace me. Bring in the YouTuber. No, I can make them funny. So, and then she was like, a few months later, like, you want to write for the movie awards? And that was one of those things I remember I was in the writer's room and I was like sending like 60 or 70 jokes a day because it was that thing of like, all right, I have to do well at this, and just boom, boom, boom. And then, she's like, you're going to do my TV show. And so it's just, I mean, I've been very fortunate, because it is that right place, right time. But the other thing is like, all these years that you got to a certain place helped too.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's got to be when you get to the right place at the right time, you're ready for it, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're not, then you end up, not being able to take advantage of either Amy Schumer being there, or Chris Hardwick, or John Oliver, or whatever it is.
Yeah, like it was the luck of, she happened to be in that room.
Right. And
she may not have, but.
Right. So what is it like to open for John Oliver's TV show? Is that tough to do?
No, I didn't know. I did a spot on his TV show.
I thought you meant you were the warm-up comic.
No, I was not. No, I did a spot on his TV show, and then I opened for him on the road.
Oh, how's he on the road? I've never seen his stand-up.
He's one of the best stand-ups in the world.
Really?
He's so underrated as a stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
Because what's phenomenal about him is that he doesn't waste a word. Everything matters. He does very... and I was with him in theaters, so I didn't get to see him in clubs and that kind of like, barrel of monkeys scenario. This is 1,000 people who've already eaten before and they want to see John Oliver. Mm-hmm. But like, we did a few casinos. And so people would be yelly and shit. And he was amazing at like, just so precise. He'd shut them down immediately. In a funny way that didn't make them feel completely humiliated, so they could still laugh, which is a hard skill to do. I've shut people down, but at the sake of the show.
Really?
Yeah.
Like you'll sacrifice the show because now I need to. It's the same thing as McDonald's breakfast. I need to inflict some misery on you. Now you're going to see the fast food man's pain.
Yeah, you don't get to win. This is my moment. Is not a good heckler put down. Comedian belittles heckler while destroying himself inside is not a viral video. Also, those videos are just bullshit. It's like the heckler never goes, "Oh, you know what? I am destroyed."
Right.
Right.
So you've had to, but that's what you do with hecklers. Do you lose crowds?
I lose crowds sometimes. No, sometimes I'm good with hecklers, but sometimes like you just you get mad.
Yeah.
You're just like, you are not a good person. Like that's what I'll do. Like and that's the best heckling taking down that I can do, where I am calm. I'll say one or two funny things, but then if I realize it's a bad situation, and also that I'm in a club where they're not doing anything, then I'll be like, look, you think you're doing something that you're not.
You just break it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, you're taking money out of everyone's pocket. That's all you're doing.
And then the whole crowd goes, he's right.
Yeah.
Boo.
Because you can, like that's the thing too, where it's like you will like, be mean to somebody and they're like, but he's one of us.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You have to figure out, because if you're up there on your pedestal, then everyone's going to be like, well, we're not on the pedestal. We're down with him.
Yeah.
But if you're like, you're fucking all of us up, if it becomes an us thing,
Yeah.
then all of a sudden
Yeah.
it's the whole room versus them.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, when I saw you with Tony Hinchcliffe,
Yeah.
that was the show where that happened to Tony.
Yeah.
And Tony decided to take a full 20 minutes out of his show
Yeah.
to make sure that the couple that was heckling him left.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't stop destroying them until they walked out, and they did.
Yeah.
And they did.
And they went to LOL.
Yeah.
And they saw Sinbad and Paula Poundstone, Tina Fey. I love they always say Tina Fey. Like the people who come here don't think she does comedy.
Did you have to bark in Times Square?
I did it one day and I realized I couldn't do it.
That was it.
I did I trust me, I did my own humiliating stuff. There was the naked show.
You did that
19 times.
Wow.
Yep.
Why
Yeah.
did you do it that many times?
Because no one else was booking me on a Saturday night.
Oh, man. How much do you get paid, if you don't mind me asking, for a naked show?
Back the way that they did it was that they had to give a certain amount of money to the theater, and if they sold more tickets than that minimum amount, that would give us like $20 a piece. And
So sometimes you get nothing.
yeah,
You get somewhere between $0 and $20.
yes.
Wow.
Sometimes between being naked and yes, being naked.
And you're like, why aren't I back in Florida at McDonald's right now?
No, it was still.
You still liked it.
Yeah, I mean, the thing, like the worst moment in comedy is still better than the best moment there.
Wow. And that's just performing your set completely nude.
Oh yeah, I only bombed once, and it was one of the worst sets.
Oh, you bombed naked?
Yeah.
Oh no.
But it is that, yeah, it's so crazy. Like, there is like this freedom to bombing naked,
Yeah.
where you're just like, you know what, we're all gonna die someday.
Right. There's nothing.
But then I'm also in my head like, these people are gonna die, and this is how they're gonna look.
Right. There's nothing left of me for you to
Yeah.
take. Now it's all mine.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's nothing more to be given away.
Yeah.
Man.
I always like think of like, what I remember, like I've done a few of those Iron Sheik roast.
Yeah.
And I remember the first one I did, and it went well. But the entire time I'm up there, I'm like, if I bomb this is gonna hurt. Like this
is supposed to be the one thing you can do.
Yeah, and I remember that first one. It was in 2013. That was one of the biggest shit shows I've ever been a part of, and it was me and Dan Soder.
Mm-hmm.
They put him first. They put me last, and they were like, "You will be the anchors of this horrendous shit." Rosenberg was hosting.
Oh.
And what happened was they had a last-minute health inspection, probably because of the BO in that radius. There's a tire fire that recently, just because it was the year that WrestleMania was in Jersey, so
Right.
there was all those people there. Even I think it was like Chris Santos from Chop, the judge from Chop. I'm like, oh God, he never likes the food. He's gonna hate my comedy. And it was this amazing moment because so Rosenberg goes up and they started an hour and a half late on a Thursday. They started around like 11:45. These people wanted blood.
Yeah.
And Rosenberg did okay, but he's not a stand-up.
No.
So
He's a host.
yeah, and so he doesn't have the exact roast rhythm.
Yeah.
And so they're already just like, ugh. And then
And by the way, it's a room full of wrestling fans too, because I've seen this happen, not on this level of angry, but I've watched the crowd decide to turn on all the comedians.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
So you're now an hour and a half late. It's the middle of the night, and they're furious with Rosenberg.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
he did all right.
But it's not his fault. Yeah.
No. And it was just like, I remember it was like the most surreal situation, and And me and Soder are sitting next to each other, and Soder is a guy I absolutely adore. We met the first week that both of us moved to the city, and that was the week that he moved too. And we didn't see each other for a few years after that.
Oh wow,
And
that's like you meet somebody first day of college, and then junior year you see him again, like, oh shit, what's up, dude? Like, yeah.
Wait, there's pussy? Can you show me? No. So he, did like the club barking and the Times Square thing and all that. And I did the naked show and the horrible open mics and just every awful gig. I used to book gigs on Craigslist. Whatever I could find, I would do. Black rooms, gay rooms, didn't matter. And I bombed a lot of them. And then we didn't see each other again for like a few years. And it was like, oh, cool. So we always had that bond. But I remember like, it was like Slumdog Millionaire where we were both on that stage. Also, there were tons of brown people. No, but we looked each other in the eyes and just like remembered that moment. Like, and we're fucking here right now, like with the Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov and his diapers.
Does that mean you've made it, or
I've at least passed the level I don't have to go back to again?
Right. You're just looking down. You're like, but the point is, my pants are on. I am wearing clothes as I perform.
Yeah. And then I remember, so he goes up first, and he does great, right? He does, the Macho Man and Andre voices are like unbelievable.
Yeah.
The crowd goes crazy, like, and they're like, all right. And then like, there's like 5 more people than me. And some of them do okay, some of them don't. There's one guy that they absolutely despised.
Who was it?
He was this guy who was like a Toronto guy. So strike one. And like this guy like David something, and he's like friends with the Megan boys who book those things.
Gotcha.
And he, like he was like way too on backstage before the show, like being ball busty when I didn't know him, and like because it's a roast.
Yeah, it's a roast, baby, and you're like, oh.
Yeah. It was like insufferable.
Yeah.
And so he eats it hard.
Which had to be good for you to see.
It was nice, but at that moment, it wasn't, because I'm thinking, oh, that's going to be me. And then I remember I followed MVP, who was awesome. MVP, like literally, like he did like a Bernie Mac. He's like, I was in prison 9.5 years. I ain't scared of you motherfuckers. It was amazing. He was so awesome, and they loved him. And I was like, all right, okay. But then I was also, MVP was killing. I'm like, but I'm not a former United States champion.
And I haven't been to jail either.
Yeah, I didn't anchor SmackDown from 2008 to 2010. I didn't have the best feud that Jack Swagger's ever had. So I go up, and I remember, like, it was one of the best sets I've ever had. And then, like, me and Soder afterwards, it was that, like, man, like all those years were worth it, because I remember I went, the way that I did it, like it was literally, I think I did 5 minutes, and I was like, that was my plan, like go in, do your stuff, and get out. Just like yelling at this person, yelling at that person. The David guy, like I ripped him apart. I called him the Brooklyn Bomber. And just like all these different like wrestling jokes.
Especially
and everything.
That had to feel so good when you can point out that the guy was a douchebag before.
Yeah,
he bombed, and you're doing well, so you get to acknowledge it.
And then, like it was like, and it was that thing. Like I made sure, like I was like, the only way I'm gonna win these people over is like making them think that I'm a bigger wrestling fan than they are.
Right.
So like almost all my jokes had very specific wrestling references. Like Jay Lethal was there, and in the Macho Man like attire, like he went up as Macho Man on a roast. So he was disqualified. and I had the line like, you do a great Macho Man impression in the ring, but an even better Virgil impression outside of it. And it was just stuff like that, and it was just this like amazing moment of like, all right, like this is what comedy can be.
Right.
And I even thought, like, man, if my mom was able to get to that point in comedy where things are so specialized, where she could have found like when she did it, you had to be funny to everybody.
Sure.
It wasn't about like just finding your own audience. It was like the whole world. And I was like, man, like that is what's cool about now.
Yeah.
Like here I am, and I did a few of those, later on. But like, here I am, like freaking telling the Iron Sheik that, he's done, the same things to the English language that Chris Benoit did to his family. And it's like, this is awesome.
It is. It's the dream, isn't it?
Yeah.
What did your mom
the American
do?
dream.
Baby, what did your mom end up doing? Did she leave comedy?
Yeah, she left. And then, like my grandma was sick, so she like took care of her. Mm-hmm. She teaches, she was in Pennsylvania for 10 years. Now they're back in Florida. She like teaches cooking classes.
She went back to Florida.
Yeah.
That's quite a decision.
Yeah. It's like, Mom, just tell me you're going to die. No, so she went back to Florida and she's there now. And I have a niece, so, they get to be in the niece's life, which they love. Mm-hmm. And I mean, she's cool. It's like, it is cool. Like, I remember I resented her being a comic at the beginning when I was doing it because I'm like, this is my dream now, my wish.
Right.
The Goonies moment. And then
down here.
Yeah, and she's Fratelli. You don't understand. Paula Poundstone thought I was funny. But then when I realized, it's cool that she did it and we can relate to things on a level that, like, most parents can't. Like, I never had the, like, good luck with your sketch tonight.
Right. She actually understood what you were going through.
Yeah. I got, you shouldn't use that second tag.
That's amazing. And did she, from the beginning, was she cool with you doing stand-up?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we connected way more because of it.
That's amazing. Well, listen, Mike Lawrence, people can find you on Twitter.
Yeah.
At the Mike Lawrence.
Yeah, is it where you plug stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. So a few things. Is that okay?
Yeah. I would welcome you to please plug stuff.
Yeah. You don't know. I tricked you into letting me be on here so I could promote things. It's really evil.
Most people don't dare promote something on the show.
The security guard knew that's the only reason I was here. She's like, you should only be here for noble reasons.
Yeah.
You tell your story and you leave.
Sam only has guests to elevate Sam, and that's
I don't want you to realize that roasting the Iron Sheik was a highlight of your life, and therefore you wasted it until the subway ride home. I'm doing a Comedy Central Snapchat series called You're Wrong.
Cool.
That's going to be coming out in a few weeks, where I talk about how shitty people's pop culture opinions are. I co-produce the Roast Masters show at The Stand every other week that Luis Gomez hosts. I help book that. I'm a permanent judge, so I'm always there.
That's great.
And
which, by the way, is brilliant because it's like it's just it's raw.
Yeah.
It's roasting.
I love it, and it's a great writer's showcase, and we have a lot of like amazing like newer comics that have like gotten a lot of like attention because of it, like Christy Cielo, Zach Amico, JP McDade, Eli Sayers, Scott Chaplin. These are people you have no idea who they are, but It's like you can see them on YouTube like writing these really funny, brilliant jokes.
Yeah. And
it's cool to do that. And then, my own podcast, Nerd of Mouth, and the current season of Inside Amy Schumer is on now. And
that's how does the Comedy Central Snapchat series work?
So I taped them all. I don't know when they're releasing them, but they'll be up for like a day. I'm hoping they put them out digitally after that. But like the basic way, like, and the one that I'm most proud of. So I did 5 episodes, but I did.
And are they one snap each?
Yeah,
so they're 10 seconds.
They're 2 to 2.5 minutes. So you'll swipe up and then you'll watch the full video.
Well, that's cool.
And the one I'm most proud of was I explained why pro wrestling is real.
Well, you have a viewer in me with at least that one. That one I'll enjoy. Mike, thank you for stopping by.
Oh, thanks for having me, man. This is fun.
Yeah, for sure. And I hope you'll come back. And I'll have you on the wrestling podcast, too, for sure.
I would love to do that, man.
All right, buddy. I'll talk to you soon. And we will be back with more Sam Roberts Show right after this. Stay tuned. Now.
You're like a uterus whisperer. Sam will be right back.
That's fun,
Don't
man.
worry. You can't carry that big brain far.